As you two would say, it's a beautiful day. It's a great song, by the way. Welcome back to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. Playoffs? You are watching Daily Dive. It is Thursday. I believe the NFL draft day is today, actually. Thursday, April 24th, 2025. I am your host, Michael Carvelis, live in Guyton, Georgia. We are broadcasting on 12-ounce sports via X, YouTube, Roku, and Fire TV. Do be sure to subscribe to the 12-ounce sports channel on YouTube for other great shows like The Rome Show every day at 7 o'clock a.m. and, of course, live sports, which you can find stuff like college lacrosse, which is getting pretty good views every single time there Illinois Wesleyan's on. Also, we have the Box Lacrosse League coming this summer. We're a big deal. And so yeah, you get it. So is lacrosse. But thanks for tuning in to this awesome show. On today's show, we're going to have the great NLL Awards debate. And I use the word debate lightly. I know some, if not all of these guys have votes today. So they're going to be kind of a little bit tight-lipped, but I have ways to get around that without breaking the ballots here. So we're going to have on Adam Levi, Pat Gregoire, and Jake Elliott. Oh, and by the way, the mics will continue with my Defensive Player of the Year and, of course, my Goaltender of the Year. And that's a heated debate, by the way. Before we get started and bring on our good friend Adam Levi, we want to let you know to go to 12ouncesports.com and click the tickets tab. We all know you're going to the playoffs game. Whether you're in Saskatchewan or Halifax or Buffalo or shoot me because I don't remember the last one, you're going to that game. Why not get your tickets for less? It's not hard. 12ouncesports.com, click the tickets tab, or go 12ozsports.com/tickets. Enough with the infomercials. MJG79 says, let's go T-Birds. Alrighty, Adam Levi. He's been here all year. He continues to be here, but in a different capacity because last time you've been talking about the games coming up, but we don't need to do that this time. It's awards, baby. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Excited to start my very busy weekend. I don't know if you've seen my schedule, Michael, but headed out early in the morning at 7 a.m. up to Buffalo for tomorrow's game, then getting an early 7 a.m. flight to Vancouver on Saturday for that game. So, if I didn't have a press pass, I would be using 12-ounce sports to get the cheapest tickets around. But unfortunately, I do have a press pass for both games, so I don't need to buy tickets. But if you do need to buy tickets, as Mike said, go do that.
If you can move that camera closer to you again, that'd be great. Just so you know. Or just sit like that. That's fine.
What a handsome. I got a haircut. Finally.
No, the haircut looks good. The haircut looks. I was going to say that backstage, but it looks good, man. How about backstage will be a little bit weird? Don't say it on there. No, I'm kidding. By the way, Vancouver was the last game that I missed, so I do apologize to the fans out there. They deserve the recognition. I didn't do it.
Probably going to be the largest crowd ever inside Rogers Arena for a pro lacrosse game, so that is very exciting. What's happening for the Vancouver Warriors is amazing.
Agreed. So, I want to work in this little topics today with you. We're going to talk a little bit about MVP. You were a voter this year, correct? Like that did happen?
I am a voter, yes. Initially, I did not receive the email, so I thought I was not eligible to vote, but then I was informed that I could vote, and I have placed my votes for all of the awards this year.
I never got this follow-up like you did, but that's okay. I'll maybe next year. So, again, as folks know, the NLL wants folks to be a little bit tight-lipped until stuff comes out, which is fine. So we're going to talk about MVP. I want to tickle that a little bit. Rookie, because you were a big Dicey Williams guy preseason, and you also called Alex Simmons last year, to be fair.
I did, yeah.
So we're also going to get to a Ty Merrill article, which was so fantastic, which I do think you might like to dabble in a little bit. And, of course, we'll get to Preston's. Let's talk about Preston's picks for the playoffs first. Do you have an update on that a little bit?
Yeah, so Preston's picks are in for the quarterfinals of the playoffs, so stay tuned later today. Those picks will be released online. We were looking into doing Preston's picks for the playoffs, but the format, as you know, your other guest today, Jake Elliott, his pick 'em who you got. They are doing it's now power rankings on Office Pool Junkie, and that doesn't align with Preston's picking individual games. So best to just wait till next year. But Mike, I am going to be coordinating with Office Pool Junkie to have Preston's picks for the PLL season.
Well,
how do you feel about that, Mike? How do you feel about that?
I will be making my picks, but I will not finish as good as I did. Just to pump my own tires, I finished 35th in Preston's picks, but 15th in who you got, which I'll take those. I think I missed like 2 weeks. That was just stupid of me, but 35th, I'll take that.
Yeah, if you missed 2 weeks and you're still right in the middle of the pack, I think you're doing great.
Middle of the pack, thank you. Okay, so let's first do the MVP here, sir.
Sure.
I mean, shout out to Preston. Good luck to him. A name that's popped up a lot is Jeff Teat, and I don't want you to tip your hand. God, I hope you didn't do this. If make the argument for Jeff Teat and tell me if I'm wrong that although valuable makes for the word valuable by definition makes for a nice debate because of how great it can be in sports. Tell me what the case for him is versus am I right by saying he didn't make the playoffs?
You know what I will do? I will kind of use the same argument that Cooper Perkins has publicly used for Westberg and the impact that Westberg made on the San Diego Seals. Westberg and the San Diego Seals barely made it into the playoffs, barely. And Westberg was a huge part of that. The amount of game-winning goals he had, that he was phenomenal, blah, blah, blah. Great. The Ottawa Black Bears almost made it into the playoffs. We're right behind San Diego Seals. And offensively speaking, the season that Jeff Teat had and the impact not only compared to his teammates and the value he played for his team, but the sheer numbers, the totals that he was putting up, which are historic, by the way, Mike. He's got 3 back-to-back 55-plus assists and goals seasons, which has never been done more than once by any other player. He's now done it 3 times. He hasn't won the award yet. The Black Bears looked great. The team did not struggle because of him. He kept them in it. And I would argue that he kept the Black Bears in contention far more than Westberg did, even though, yes, you could argue that the specific goals that Westberg scored were more valuable. The overall impact of Jeff Teat's offensive performance was more valuable. So that would be my argument for Jeff Teat. For Connor Fields, who I think is in a lot of people's conversation, I think, you look at the numbers again, off the charts. I know people will not give him, they'll say, oh, well, a lot of those loose balls come from shots that he missed and he just went to go pick it up. Cool. Well, guess what? There's a lot of players who miss a lot of shots, and guess who doesn't pick up those loose balls? Those
players.
So, I would love a guy on my team who misses a shot and says, hey, I'm going to go pick that back up and get another opportunity. And then, by the way, I'm going to go score a ton of goals, put out a bunch of assists, and be a huge dynamic player on my team. So I think that for Connor Fields, I think he's going to get a ton of votes. I'm sure Westberg will as well. And, of course, there's Dean Smith and Josh Byrne. And I think the biggest thing against the two of those guys is each other. It's essentially, you can't have one without the other. Or if you can, who knows how they would perform? We just don't know. Literally, Josh Byrne's entire career has been with Dean Smith. So who knows how good Josh Byrne would be if he wasn't with Dean Smith.
I know the reel it's making its rounds on Instagram where I've said I do think there are guys like Josh Byrne or Dane or like Connor Fields or whoever. There's 5 or 10 guys that I feel like could do similar to what Jeff Teat has done. The thing that bothers me, I guess the thing it bothers me because I know that he had 112 points. The next closest guy had 65. No one on his team had more than 25 goals.
Yeah.
There's the value.
Yeah.
But it's like the same people, not you, but just like we'll say, well, Dane Smith scoring 32 goals, but having a bunch of assists with that roster is fine. Like I don't get like. I think we got to have consistency, which probably gets to the Chimera point as well. But I don't know. It's weird because I think if you give it to Connor Fields, how could you not give it to Dane Smith? How could you not give it to this guy? It's frustrating.
Well, I think that's something that's been unanimously talked about, and I think Evan Shermanauer talked about it in his random thoughts for Lacrosse Culture Daily, was that we are in a position for a ton of awards now where we really have no idea who's going to win. You could make an argument for so many different guys at so many different positions. And that's kind of a dream scenario for the league to have that many talented players where you really don't know who's going to win the award. And we're not talking about 2 or 3 guys. We're talking about in some positions 4 or 5, maybe even 6 guys where you want to be like, hey, is this guy my number one? So that is it's going to look. It's a tough decision for voters. What I would say, and I know they didn't do this last year, but they did it the year before. I would love for the NLL to bring back, or at least to publicly show the amount of points that each person got for the award.
Agree, 1,000%. Every league does that, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so because then we would be able to see if someone did run away with it, but also flaunting the fact that there was such a close vote and it was so indecisive is equally interesting to so many people. I think that would be great to do. I doubt they're going to do that, so I don't want to get anyone's hopes up that that's going to happen. I think that would be a cool little thing to bring back.
So I completely agree with that, by the way. I also love the voter transparency. I think NFL I don't even think the NBA does voter transparency as much, but I think the NFL is one. But voter transparency would be cool, but I'm not sure if we're there yet. But like you said, the counting the votes would be great, or at least publicly counting them. So let's do Dyson Williams. Well, I say Dyson Williams, but let's do Rookie of the Year next because I give it to Adam Patra. It's funny that Dyson and Will Johansson were both made my top 3.
Yeah.
But then they both got. I feel like Adam Patra. I was so glad he didn't get injured for the whole rest of the season because that would have derailed everything.
Yeah.
But Dyson, and I made this point the other day, not saying you have to piggyback or even argue this. I thought that for the amount of volume he had, I couldn't justify. And plus, Adam Patra's all-around game was phenomenal. I've never asked you who your Rookie of the Year is. Don't care if you disclose it or not because just be careful. But make me a case for Dyson Williams and then what I just told you.
So first of all, I would just say that I don't think I'd be where I am in this space, especially this year, Mike, if I had played it careful all the time. I just don't think that would be on brand.
Yeah, big PLL guy, this guy.
However, I will say that, what is interesting, and we talk about Jeff Teed and not making the playoffs, we are going to have a Rookie of the Year, no matter who it ends up being, that is going to be on a team that had a losing record this season.
Sure, that's rookies for you.
Yeah, and if it ends up, well, not necessarily. Look at, Alex Simmons, Ty Kerr.
He was MVP for crying out loud.
But I'd have to go back. Actually, that's a great Graham Perro question. What for Rookie of the Year? What was the worst record of the Rookie of the Year winner? Because the Desert Dogs, with the 4 wins, the Desert Dogs, if Adam Poitras wins it, that could be up there.
Good point.
But yeah, I mean, Poitras, the way he filled in different roles when there was injuries, playing out the back door as well, kind of getting settled. Jake Elliott can talk so much about this. He was calling so many of those Desert Dog games, but then filling in as getting all those points as a forward, doing whatever his team needed was fantastic. A ton of caused turnovers. I personally got to see Will Johansson and Dyson Williams play a lot this season because I went to Albany. Yeah. Will's effort, phenomenal. The way he runs up and down the floor in transition, fantastic. Dyson, I think, and I was asked about this, the difference between Dyson Williams and I noticed you didn't mention Brendan O'Neill, and I think that the problem with
he was 5th.
Yeah, the problem with Brennan is that he started so hot, not only with his performances, but the big plays he was making, and then he cooled off. And with Dyson, it was the exact opposite. Dyson was getting better and better as the season went on, not only with his clutch plays, but just the way he was scoring, the way he was helping to move the ball around, the way he was just seemed so much more comfortable out there and finishing. So, I think that unfortunately, because Brennan had a very slow second half, that there would be very little to no chance that he will win Rookie of the Year. But I think that there's a couple of Firewolves and Adam Poitras who are definitely in the running.
So just for the record, people may have on this now, but I had to take off your mic cancellation for a little bit there because it helps you sound 10 times more clear. If that helps you. So that's kind of throwing me off. No, you are right with Brian O'Neill because he did not have the clutch plays. He had highlight reel plays throughout the season. That was kind of cool. I think Brian O'Neill really overachieved because I said it before. He did overachieve quite a bit. Yep. But Dyson, like you said, had the all-around body of work. Now, Johansson's the tough one because he had the 12 points was like, like when you had the loose balls and you had the defense he did, he still didn't have as much calls turnovers as Adam Poitras, which is why I gave it to Poitras in the end. Mm-hmm. I thought you could have had at least one more of those stats, but O'Neill, because I believe once they trade away, what was it, Holden Katoni, I was expecting a little bit more of an immediate jump.
And that was the plan.
Sure. Prematurely, but it is what it is, man.
Well, I think, and just a final point on this, I think with Brennan, he did something more valuable than win Rookie of the Year, which is as an American player with a little bit of box experience, with a huge name and aura around him, showed that he's capable to be an impact player in the National Lacrosse League. And I think that because people were so unsure of how he would be in the box game, that is way more valuable to him than him winning an award in his rookie season.
That's a great point. I gotta ask you, have you thank you for your time today, by the way. Have you, what drink are you drinking, by the way, right now, since you did
always green tea, Mike. Always.
Oh, this guy. No. Okay, so you've seen, as I'm sure many have, a Ty Merrill article, correct? Yep. Great, by the way.
Oh, fantastic! Ty is great. Ty is fantastic, and Ty, since he has left his position working with the Georgia Swarm, has been very open about his opinions very often, and sometimes people get really fed up, and the thing about Ty is an excellent writer. He knows how to make good points, even when he's really frustrated.
So it's crazy about that is, I almost agree with everything Ty Merrill said. He didn't. I may have screenshot this. He didn't include me in his little other snubs for media person. We're not going to go into that. But I will say, what he did do was a shocking claim that he made, or a shocking statement he made was, or confession. He was given a vote one year and decided he couldn't do it. And that, I think that's what he said. And I was like, it was mind blowing to me, but it also was like, wow, talk about integrity. Like, that's hard. I wanted to vote this year just because I knew I don't think any of my number one guys are gonna make it, full disclosure. None of my number one guys are gonna be in the number one spot because I have opinions that differ from other people. But for him to do that and that was bold, but I was also strong. And I think more media members need to not be slap each other around wherever they want to go. And yes, man, I feel like Ty Merrill made some great points in there, man.
Yeah. Yes, he did make some fantastic points. I think that the league and the system that we have in place definitely needs to change. Here is the way that I will frame it, and I think that I can give this perspective in a way, and understandably so, that Jake and Pat cannot, for their reasons that they are attached to teams and to the leagues, and I would never want them to say things that they shouldn't say, even if they think them. I do not have that issue. And so what I will speak to is when I saw that the list of awards, which, by the way, I feel, first of all, let me point out Landon Kells. Terrible to not see him on the goaltender of the year list when there was 13 other guys. Yes, he had the worst goals against average, but if you're listing 13 guys and there's 14 teams, I mean, at least put him on. Geez. So that was pretty rough. But since there was a change in who was eligible for these awards, when we started putting media personalities, and again, this is no shot at Jake or Pat or Teddy or any of these guys, but since we started doing that, and Ty pointed this out in this piece, those personalities have won the award every year since, and I was the only one to buck the trend.
Hey,
And the amount of work that I had to put in to even be considered to buck that trend was something I wouldn't want anyone else to be doing in this industry, because it is exhausting and there's a lot of sacrifice, and it's not necessarily worth it. Sorry, that's my dog. What I would say is that it is unfortunate, Lucy, honey, it is unfortunate.
we love Lucy.
It is unfortunate for this year in particular, after Graham was a finalist last year and I won it. The lack of independent media people that were on this list. That includes yourself. That includes Steven Stamp, my colleague. That includes me. That includes Paul Tutka. That includes Graham Perro. And I would just offer the argument of, if you took all of the collective work that we did away from this space, what would the league be in terms of coverage? And that's
back another 30 years.
People should look themselves in the eyes. And, I get that I'll give you an example. When I saw the Borelli list, I said to myself, there are a lot of great, really talented employees of the year on that list. Would I say that they are media people of the year? No. But they are great employees of the year. And I would also just add that when independent media gets, that is not considered, when they're kind of pushed aside, we have seen a decrease in independent media attention to the National Lacrosse League over the last 1-2 decades, to the detriment of the league. It is only now, I can tell you, I go to a ton of arenas, and I know that Pat and Jake and all these guys can attest to this. You've been there in Georgia. Who else is there? Who else is covering the teams? There are very few people who are doing that. There used to be a lot more. I wonder why they're not there anymore. I wonder why they are not getting.
Yeah. That was weird. Can you talk again? I think your mic just said forget it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that was weird. No, I that's a good point. I've talked to somebody recently who's leaving the league, and I feel like they did a great job, and it was frustrating, because I feel like if the league was more, I'll just say, I'll leave it here for you, by the way. If the league was more welcoming, and if it was more transparent and was more even popular,
yep,
like it'd help a little bit.
Yeah, and I would just say that, the point of independent media not being around to leagues, that was actually something that I've noticed it, but it's not something that I thought of on my own. This has been brought up to me by other people. I have, by choice, taken up a role where I have decided to speak up when a lot of others have chosen not to on certain issues. And it's nice to see Ty and Evan doing so as well in independent media positions. And by the way, also, what about Evan? Evan doing his random thoughts, where's his recognition, another independent person? When you're giving it to just team people and you're allowing teams to vote at this kind of capacity, you're really at risk of losing the attention and interest of people who aren't attached to a team and to the league, to say, hey, why am I doing this? Why am I covering this league? So,
Roger Courier says, I agree, Michael and Stamper should have votes. Appreciate you, Roger. The Courier sounds familiar. I don't know why. Could be wrong.
That's Zach's dad. And
is it really? There you go.
I believe, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, I believe Steven Stamp's realtor as well. So.
I'm dead. That works. I named Zach Curry my transition player of the year. Too much interesting debates. I'm sorry. Well, Adam, I hope. Well, I guess later on we can unveil your ballots. I believe after they're announced, right?
Yep.
maybe you come on the show and let us know how you really felt. So
I'm I'm always here, Mike. My microphone will be better next
no, you're
time.
good.
But yes, thank you for always for having me, and I will be able to next weekend tell you all about my exciting adventures. Can't wait to see the people of Bandit Land, and then can't wait to see the people of Vancouver. It's my first time back in Vancouver since I moved in October 2023. So it'll be very nice to see people there, and you can ask Jake if he's going to be there because I haven't seen Jake in a little bit.
That's awesome. He's probably a lot taller than you, but we're going to leave that alone. Thank you, Adam, for everything, man. And we'll enjoy the playoffs.
Thank you. You too.
Yes, sir. Adam Levy, everybody, go to at Adam Levy LAX on what is it called? X/Twitter. And at Adam_Levy_LAX on Instagram. His Instagram has been fired up recently, man. Posting all kind of stuff on there now. It's like I'm trying to scroll to find the last one you posted. All right. When we come back to this awesome show, Pat Gregoire joins the studio to talk about other award as well. Again, not to unveil ballots, but just to kind of get some feels and some conversations going. This is the great NLL Awards debate. Don't go anywhere. I know you won't.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
America, get back on track with Dust Pod's Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water. Dust Pods is the future in polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DUST-PODS or visit dustpods.com today.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
With a brand new logo, it is Pat Gregoire of the OTCB podcast. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Just getting a little walk in with the dog, clearing my mind before we have to do a little bit of debating on awards, get ready for the playoffs. It's a great time of year.
So I got to ask you, you and Teddy, of course, new logo. Who dis, by the way?
Yes.
What was the? First of all, didn't realize it was going to come with more color coordinated graphics because the Dane Smith thumbnail was phenomenal. What led to the change, man? Just more captivating or change, or what's going on?
You know what? To be honest, no idea. No idea. Just was I guess I was bored. Got tired of prepping my notes for the playoff game this week in Halifax, and had a little fun, and so fresh new look for a new season, but that season's the playoffs.
So Teddy approves of it, right?
Oh, big time approval. Yeah, the big boss man had to approve it first, of course.
Big fun. Oh, love it. Well, Pat, we thank you for joining us, and we will get to your Halifax game a little bit. El Capitan Pick says, love the new logo, not so much the Leafs hat.
Yes. Of course. I knew there would be some haters, but it is a Toronto Maple Leafs game day, so I had to come ready, rocking my blue and white.
Well, like I said, we appreciate you coming on, and I want to, again, tell the people, if they're just joining us, that this is not to unveil Pat's ballot. It wouldn't be fair to him or anybody on the show today, but rather to get some talking points from people. First thing I do want to get to you is the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Adam talked about this a little bit, and you don't have to tip your hand either way. I talked about the GFT. I'm going to add in Curtis Dixon or Wesley Berg. But then you have the Connor Field / Ryan Smith or Dane Smith / Josh Byrne dynamic. How do you personally, as a voter, differentiate the word valuable? Because it's such a wild, fun, gray area.
Well, I was a big advocate, and so was Teddy. It was actually a topic on our podcast was, there needs to be an offensive player of the year award. There wasn't until last year, because I really felt like every year was like voters were just pulling up the stats, going to the top and being like, okay, who had the most points this year? That's who I'm for the MVP. Which, and of course, we saw last year, it didn't matter because it was Josh Byrne who won it. And okay, that's fine. Totally fair. He had an unbelievable season. But with adding that award, I think we can start to get the true value, pun intended, of what value actually means. Who has the most value to their team? Who provides the most value to the team? If you took player A off that roster, how would that team fare? That's kind of one of the exercises that I do. So, when you look at Dane Smith or Josh Byrne, don't get me wrong, they're phenomenal players. They're generational talents. You take one of them off, they're going to be fine because they got another generational talent right there. It's pretty easy to see. Do I still think they're incredibly valuable to the Buffalo Bandits? Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. So when looking at other options, you mentioned Curtis Dixon. Look what he's doing in year 14 of his career, 36 years old. Basically just, the San Diego Seals decided, we'll part ways. We're going to go in a different direction. He has one of the best seasons of his career. Puts up the most amount of points of his career. Got close, I think it was most assists in his career. Second most goals of his career. Mind you, he's doing this at 36. So, I think that's something to say. You mentioned, obviously, Connor Fields. And I think, this is a guy that just year after year elevates how good of a player he is. Yes, he does have Ryan Smith by his side. He does have Ryan Lansbury as well. And Thompson Convey putting up 70 points as well. He does so much more than just put the ball in the net or set those guys up. Look at his loose ball numbers. Look what he does, on the forecheck. You take him away from those other guys, I don't know how productive they would be. They're still supremely talented players, but he elevates those other guys. He is just a game changer on that team. So I think there's a ton of value with him. Where I have the gripe here is that when you want to look at most valuable players, who is the most valued player to their team? How the hell is Zach Curry not an option for me to vote?
I am so glad you said that.
Because this guy plays offense. This guy plays defense. He goes back in transition. He pushes the ball, and that maybe can be a discussion for a little bit later. He's on the face. He's on the ball team on faceoffs. He kills penalties. He's on the power play. Scores game-tying goals. Scores game-winning goals. I get it. There's a lot of love for Wes Berg for him to be MVP. Super valuable to his team. The guy is clutch. probably the most clutch player on the planet right now.
Yeah.
But what we saw in Courier this year, he went out of his comfort zone for the betterment of his team and said, you know what? I'll play offense. I'll go with the Odor. You know, the lefty side isn't as strong as it's been for your team. Mind you, on a team that he just came to. I think it is mind-numbing that this guy was not an option for me to put on my ballot, because I can say this. I know there's a lot of chatter about revealing ballots, not revealing ballots. What I can tell you is that if he was an option, he was going to be my number 1 or number 2 option. So I can say that, but I couldn't even vote for him. I think it's really disappointing that he's not up for the award, because I truly believe you could make a strong argument that he is the most important player to his team.
So I got to ask you, because I know, like, we've seen a few bits and pieces online of people saying how they come to these conclusions of, like, who don't the team supposedly like pick the players, but correct. Wouldn't the Seals be able to add Berg and Curry, or do they just have to choose one and go with it?
Yeah, you know, I wish I don't want to be.
Or you don't know.
You know, that's what I thought it would be. That from what my understanding, and I mean, Ty kind of goes into his article and explains it, and so does Evan Sheminar. From my understanding, it was a team gets at least 1 to 2 nominees per ballot.
Right.
So my guess is they either just nominated Berg, and maybe Danny Logan was another nominee from somewhere else, which I doubt. I doubt another team is using a nominee on another player. So I assume it's the Seals who said, okay, our 2 nominees are going to be Logan, who, again, I mean, I'm very much on the record how much I love Logan as a player, and Berg, no doubt, captain, catalyst of that offense for sure. You could put him there. So maybe this is a Seals discussion. I don't know, but I just felt it really weird, the fact that, you know, he's not up for that award, to be quite honest.
So now I'm glad you mentioned that, because another one, like, you're, again, don't tip your hand, but I kind of told you before I announced it that, what's up, man? Love this.
You're good. We're good. We're good. Just give me a second here.
No, you're good. So my transition player of the year was Zach Courier. And I believe, if I'm correct, you don't know if that's possible because of the amount of forward that he played. So I got to ask you, without tipping your hand, what is the argument against that? Because, again, I even was mentioning it on the show that I feel like transition player was such a hard one for me to figure out until this year. And I feel like the all-around game of Zach Courier kind of meant transition for me. But what is your take on transition, how that works, and how you vote for it?
Well, first and foremost, sorry, I had to go on pause there for a second.
No, you're good.
I had to pick up the dogs. You know what? Didn't want to subject the viewers to what I had to do there. So,
well, good for you then.
Hey, and shout out me picking up the dog's poop. If your dog does poop, do the right thing and pick it up.
Good Lord.
It's a tricky one for me because, you know, initially my thoughts were, well, transition player of the year is supposed to be, quote unquote, the defender or a player that plays out the back door. And that is an offensive player and pushes transition, like a Owen Grant, like a Ryan Terefenko.
Jake Boudreaux, yeah.
But a Jake Boudreaux, oh, absolutely, 100%. Then, you know, what Teddy kind of got my ear and a couple other people got my ear was like, well, what's the difference between an offensive player going out the front door and taking away transition? What's the difference between a player going out both doors? So if we're going to look at as more of the best two-way player, then yes, absolutely. I totally will concur. Then yes, he should be up for the award. And yes, he should get a ton of votes. This is where, again, going into some of the voting, or not even voting, for me, it's like, I think we need to change up some things when it comes to transition player. I think it should be, you know, you're just either a forward and you're a defender based upon what you're playing that night. If you're going out the O door, D door, Then we have awards for, the top offensive defenseman and awards for the best defensive forward. So a guy like Dane Smith, Josh Byrne, Adam Poitras, those
Connor
guys could
Fields,
also, Connor Fields could be up for those awards for their defensive prowess while being a forward. So it's a debate for, for another time. But even,
Right.
here's the other thing though, like a guy like Ian McKay, he was my preseason transition player of the year pick. The guy was playing mostly offense this year.
That's a good point.
He's still up for the award, but it's also another way for these like well-rounded players that are positionless players, we'll call them. It's also now a way for them to kind of get the shine if we were to add a different award or change the way that we define these positions. So I think transition player of the year by far was the most difficult. And all of them were really tough, Mike, to be honest. All of them.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Adam brought that point up. It's so great that we have this problem.
It's a great problem to have, but I think transition player of the year was probably the one that I had the most difficulties with.
Wow, okay. I think look at you picking up the dog's crap again. I'm kidding. So I think goaltender was tough, and I'll unveil my goaltender later, but we're not going to get into that part. I want to first get to Calgary and Halifax, just briefly here if you want to. No betting angles, obviously, today, because, we had to do this awesome, great debate show.
Of course.
Debate used lightly once again. But Halifax gets a home playoff game. Pat, I'm going to be honest, Calgary, maybe San Diego's a bit, but Calgary's the team that I feel like could pull off the upset, man, of all the 4 teams.
To be honest, I think you could make a strong case for all the lower seeds, to be quite frank. But let's start with this. This was your question. Calgary, though, they have a few things going for them. 3 wins in a row. The defense and Nick Rose have figured things out. If you look at Nick Rose's numbers, and I know you I think you've opened a lot of people's eyes when it comes to, and I don't want to tip any figures, but he just quietly put himself in the goaltender of the year category, like with a blink of an eye.
The best of the year, yes.
Like when he's joined this Roughnecks team, man, his numbers are outstanding. And even when he was with Toronto, his numbers were still pretty good, especially considering a lot of those nights he didn't have a Brad Curry in the lineup, a Latrell Harris, a Challen Rogers. He was playing in front of a defense that he's not generally used to. So he goes to Calgary, does a great job. So the defense has been much better. Nick Rose is a goalie that sure hasn't won an NLL title, but he's been on long playoff runs before. You just look at the fact of the matter is that Calgary offense is one of the deepest in the NLL. I think both these teams are kind of built very similar. You've got 2-headed monsters on both sides. For Calgary, it's Jesse King, Curtis Dixon. You've also got on the Halifax side, you've got Clark Peterson, Randy Stotts. All 4 of those guys, 100-plus points. Then you've got the depth. You've got power forward, Tanner Cook for Calgary, Dawson Feed for Halifax. You've got the old wily vets, lefties that can still get it done. Dane Doby, Cody Jamieson. These teams are so razor tight. You give a bit of the edge with the home floor advantage, with how electric that atmosphere is going to be in Halifax. But the other X factor is goaltending. You've said it all along. The reason why you've been reluctant when it comes to Halifax is the uncertainty in between the pipes. You're going to give the factor, you're going to give the edge, obviously, to Nick Rose. I honestly don't think Drew Hutchison needs to be outstanding and needs to steal a game. He just needs to be good enough. He just needs to not let in those back-breaking goals, make the saves that he needs to make, and Halifax defense, their transition will do the rest of the job, and we know how potent that offense is. It's going to be a tight one, man. It's a coin flip game for me on this one. But just a little nugget. Halifax has not beat Calgary since the first time they've ever met since moving to Halifax in that COVID-shortened season. 5 straight victories for the Roughnecks against Halifax, whether it's in Halifax, out in Calgary, Del Bianco in net, McLeod, whoever. It's been the Roughnecks who has had the better half of this rivalry. And, this one's coming right down to the wire. It absolutely is. I know you said no
love
betting
it.
angles, but on the OTCB parlay this week, we did take Roughnecks plus 1.5 because, hey, we think it's going to be a close one. Take the
And
points.
we're rooting for that. What do you say?
Exactly. I said take the points. Take the
There
points.
you go. So one last thing I will mention, you may not want me to mention this, but it's there. Borelli, you were up for it again. You are a one-time winner and a second place finisher. That's actually a pretty cool deal.
Thank you.
I am not going to give a media person this year because I feel like there's so many. I like a lot of people, and I told you my top 5 was, and like it's not worth. I just have so many people I like. I think our next guest and our previous guest both could be also winners because they of the all around. Like you do 20, I think you 20 games. Jake does 2 different teams plus a podcast. You do a podcast. Adam does his thing. We're not at a shortage for awesome people in the media, but congrats to you, sir. By the way.
Thank you. That does mean a lot just to be nominated for the award alongside so many, great friends, colleagues, mentors. It really does mean a lot.
Yeah.
Again, not tipping any votes or any hands, but once again, John Gertler nominated for the award. I know it's supposed to be an award for a full body of work from the year, but man, for all the hard work that he does, not just this year, but for his entire career since the Bandits have come here, pretty much. It would be really nice to see a legend of the game finally be awarded, for his hard work, his dedication to growing the game.
Real quick, isn't he like one of 2 or 3 road warriors of play-by-play in the league?
Yes, himself, friend of the program, Cody Jansen. Craig Rybczynski from Rochester as well. Those 3 guys are.
I thought Craig was
well.
the 3rd one. Yeah, that's
so,
all. That's amazing.
It's amazing. It's amazing what they do. But you know what? There's so many great people, honestly, up for that award. There's, there's a lot of people I'd be super happy for. Craig's won the award as well. Similar thing. He's done such great work for so many years, and it was awesome to see him get his due. And to be quite frank, Mike, there's a lot of really good people left off the ballot as well. So that's a topic for another day. But it just goes to show you how much, how many great talented people are covering this game.
Pat, you have a day in Halifax. Congrats also, by the way, on your Fresh Fits broadcasting win. I started that kind of late, but I will be sending you a package of a shirt, a hat, and a mug very, very soon. So we'll keep in touch and get where to ship that to. But thank you, sir, for your time this year. And enjoy your time in the Thunderbird City.
Thank you. I will. Halifax is going to be buzzing.
Woo! P. Greggy on X. P. Greggy 22, again, for some reason, on Instagram. We come back. We've got one more guest. He's pretty big, pretty jumbo, if it was so. Hey, I don't want to do a good job. We're right back, folks. Jake Elliott's on the other side, also a nominee for the Borelli, to talk awards and a little bit of Vancouver and Las Vegas. Don't go anywhere. It's Daily Dive. We'll be right back.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
You need tickets to that next event? We've got them. That's right, tickets.12ozsports.com. Get you to any sporting event, concert, theater event that you can think of. And the promo code 12OZ or ROME gets you an additional discount. Don't feed the massive ticket corporate machine. Go to tickets.12ozsports.com and enjoy the show. America, get back on track with Dust Pod's Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water. Dust Pods is the future. And polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DUST-PODS or visit dustpods.com today.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Holy crap, we're back. Jake, Elliott, how you been, Mr. Sir?
Big Mike, always good to talk some lacrosse with you. I'm doing good, man. Just got fresh off the disc golf course. So beautiful day here in Vancouver and chucking a little plastic around and now talking lacrosse. What a Thursday.
You are good with those little lines, man. I got to ask you, speaking of, by the way, first of all, we'll get to the Borelli part, but just congrats first and foremost for being nominated for that. You are a one-time winner, correct?
I actually got 2 under my belt, Mike.
Look at you!
Yeah. It's been a while. I'll say that. Actually, the last time that the Vancouver Warriors made the playoffs, I think, was the last time that I won. So who knows if Kismet will strike again here. But I will say this off the top, if we're going to talk Borelli here quickly, Mike. You know, I was listening to Pat, who I never thought was going to shut up there, Mike. We're a little past the time here, but Patty can ramble with the best of them. Brutal hat, by the way, Gregoire. Anyways, back to Borelli here. I just want to say, congratulations to all the nominees. And I'm more upset that there's not some people on that list that I really think belong on that list, to the point yourself, Mike Carvallis. I think you belong on that Tom Borelli list. Like, as far as I'll say, listen, I don't necessarily agree with some of the things you say. You know this. I've told you this. Or sometimes, quite frankly, how you say it at certain points as well. But I will say this. You are on the grind, man. Like 5 days a week, however long or how many hours a day you're spending talking about the National Lacrosse League on a daily basis here on Daily Dive. There's nobody else in our league that's doing that. And for you not to be on that list, I think is a real disservice to what you bring to the table. So I'm sorry that you're not on there. I'm sorry that people like Brad Challoner and Chantel Chan and Adam and Paul Tuck at the Lax Mag, and I could go on. There's some real deserving people that should be on that list. They're not on that list, and we got to find a way to change that.
1,000%. I also want to mention, so I'm not going to unveil a media vote, because if I had a vote, I don't even know if I would want to vote, because it's so hard for me. So many people that support the show and also just do a great job. Yeah. You were actually originally my number one guy, because you and Gertler, I feel like could the amount of all around work that y'all do. Like, you got 2 teams, I believe, for 2 years in a row now that you helped out. Like Teddy did the analyst thing with a week preparation. There's so many guys who are killing it, and we appreciate your work, man.
I'm on board with Patty Gregoire here. A couple of years ago when Craig Gubzinski finally won, I honestly sat back and what do you mean Craig hasn't won yet? I didn't even know that. And then it was like, okay, well, let's get that changed. And now I'm on that platform with John Gertler as well. To be the longest tenured play-by-play man in the league, to have called more games than any other human in the history of the league, the Fast Break article, the 18 games a year on the road for 30 plus years, and the fact that this guy has never won a Tom Borelli award is absolutely insane. And that needs to change this year as well. A lot of other people are deserving, no question about it, but there's nobody more deserving. And say what you want. The man's 71 years old and later into his career here, but we're not talking about 2025 here. We're talking about the last 35 years of this man's work, and he needs to be recognized. And I'm dead serious on that. That needs to happen. So I hope anybody that has a vote that is listening to this show or watching this show here that hasn't cast their vote yet, do the right thing. That's all I'm going to say.
I love it. Is it a Haudenosaunee hat, by the way?
It's the Haudenosaunee Nationals. I got this at the World Championships down in San Diego. There's a funny story with this hat. So where I was calling games was on the campus of San Diego State, and the A pool guys were playing at another venue, probably about half an hour away, and I didn't really have I was calling games all day, didn't have a chance to get over there. I saw this guy, I don't know what team he played for or whatever, walk by me with the hat, and I just like stopped him in his tracks and said, "How much?" And he's like, "For what?" And I said, "I need that hat. You just tell me how much you want for it, and I'll pay it." And I did. I probably went a little over what it was worth, but purple and gold are my colors, Mike, and I wasn't passing this beauty up.
I love that. Real quick, I do want to get to lacrosse classified, which I don't think last time I talked to you, it was not back on Twitter/Elon Musk X platform.
Don't get me started on Elon. Don't get me started on Elon Musk here.
Tell me what's the latest on Lax Class?
Yeah, so I finally, I tried to get the account back. I sent, I don't know how many, 150 reports going, like, I don't even know why I'm suspended. Like, can you reactivate my account, please? This is my livelihood. This is my business. People are, paying me to put this podcast on it. And I honestly think it was from using the hashtag Indigenous Peoples Day. I think that's what got me suspended, if you can believe it or not, which is insane. So anyways, I didn't I just kind of wrote it out for 3-4 months without pot, but I fired up a new account. So if you want to lob that a follow, you can follow that at Lax Class Podcast.
I love it.
Back on the X, begrudgingly.
And love it. Who you got is in the Adam told me about the pool. You guys have opened up a playoff. Well, I finished 15th in the regular one. I thought
you just nipped me, Mike. I finished 17th overall. I think you even missed a week or two in there making your picks even as well. So the fact that you finished top 15 with missing complete weeks, pretty impressive stuff. Well done. My wife came second, though, Mike. My wife came second overall. I should have been taking advice from her the whole time, but
she was second. Your wife was second overall?
Second overall, man.
You're married? Things I don't know. This is crazy.
Technically, no, but you know how that goes, Mike. She's
yeah. Love is love, baby. So, as the previous guests, as you probably have seen so far, and as our fans have seen, this is not about what unveiling Mr. Elliott's ballot, but it's just fun stuff. The first thing I want to get to is MVP, and the reason is, especially with you, there's a lot of talk, and I'm not saying Del Bianco's even in crack people's top 5. But he played 6 games of the year, but talk about guys that brought value to the team immediately. I said if it wasn't for Calgary holding the guy hostage, he could have been MVP this year. What is your take on the Del Bianco, how you as a voter thought about in goaltender, and even just how does that work for you? The 6 games.
I'll tell you this. Calgary wasn't holding Del Bianco hostage. Christian was holding Calgary hostage. Let's make that real clear here off the top. It was his decision, not theirs.
That's a good point too.
So listen, when I started to fill out my ballot, not so much MVP, and Christian's on record as saying, I hope nobody casts a single vote my way because that's disrespectful to the rest of the players that played a full season. And I was kind of on that train before I even saw him say that. I figured he would feel that way just knowing Christian like I do.
He's humble.
And it doesn't get any more humble than him. And he did. So I'm glad he feels that way. So not so much MVP, but when I sat there for my goaltender of the year,
it's hard.
I gave him a long look, man, like a long look. And I'm not going to tell you who I put down 1, 2, or 3. Sure. He's in the mix. I'll say that. And I can only imagine 9, 10, 18 games behind that defense. I think we might have seen historic numbers from Del Bianco, and we may just see that next year as well.
Next year's going to be a blast pending the CBA. I do want to mention looking into the goaltender thing now because I in my top 5 I didn't go there because of the 6 games, just full disclosure. But when you look at I look at Matt Finch and Shiliano, as great as they were, their defense was so good. That was my thing for Nick Rose last year. This year, Nick Rose has all the reasons to possibly be goalie of the year because his defense wasn't as great, especially in Calgary.
Yeah.
So that was saying Shiliano and Vince kind of
I hear what you're saying. One thing you don't need to do is apologize for having a good goalie, right? You look at the NHL playoffs and a goaltender can really steal you a game in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It doesn't happen
lightning
as
guy.
much. Yeah, it doesn't happen as much in the NLL, but there are times when the goalie will just go out and say, like, you're not scoring tonight, whether you allow
point.
4 or 5 or 6 or whatever. For me, Nick Rose, he had a great year. Like, the numbers back that up. No question about it. There were a couple of lulls in there. And to his defense, and like Pat said, he didn't have his A team in front of him in Toronto. A little bit of an adjustment period in Calgary to kind of figure out that defense and how they were playing in front of him, or how he wanted them to play in front of him. So he's in the conversation as well, but I don't think he can take any respect off of what Vino and Frankie did this season. In particular, Chiliano, the knock on him is, can he play a full season? Does he wear out? Is he out of shape? Does he get tired near the end of the year? Is he going to go quiet in the playoff? I mean, we'll see. But I think Frankie has kicked that moniker, and he was about as consistent as you could get all season long. Let's not forget he missed a month, but there were some bye weeks in there for Saskatchewan as well. So I think he only missed 2 games total. But I think that's helped him down the stretch. And he's got a good defense in front of him, no question about it. But he's made a lot of stops this year on his own as well. And those are probably the 3 guys for me: Frank, Vino, and Rosie.
I love it. I want to ask you about again, I don't even think you were prepared to talk goaltender, but I mean, you can talk it all. But I got to ask you about Dylan Ward and Zach Higgins, who do playoffs, because I feel like playoffs should matter, not as much as MVP for me at least, but goaltender playoffs might help. Like, if you're in the playoffs, it might help you a little bit. But I feel like Zach Higgins and Dylan Ward both, like you said, stole a few games. And Dylan Ward would put like 57 saves and lose. That just blew my mind.
Yeah, he's had a number of those over his career where he has made close to 60 stops and still lost the game. It doesn't happen very often. Higgy's going to give you a chance every single night. Like, he doesn't have too many bad games. Maybe the one-off here and there, but for the most part, he's about as consistent as it gets. Like, you know what you're getting when you start Zach Higgins in goal. And for me, like, when I look at these awards and start thinking about, whether it's Coach of the Year or Rookie of the Year or whatever the case is, your regular season record comes into play for me when I make my decisions. So if you're a playoff team, you're probably in the conversation. And if you're a guy that's, right around the same point totals or even a few more, but your team's not in the playoffs, or you're a coach that, has a record that's, good, but it's not, you're probably not getting my vote.
Yeah, I've got coach, goalie, and MVP are just the 3 that feels like
MVP, offensive player of the year. Like, I think maybe that's the one where you could go, okay, like, this is pure offense, best offensive player. Like Joe Resetarits, not in the playoffs, but massive year. Philly Wings record-setting year. Outstanding.
That's hard to
season,
do,
right? Like, he's a guy that's I got to give some consideration for when you're talking about offensive player of the year. I don't think that factors into whether you make the playoffs or not.
I mean, not knock on Jeff T. I named Jeff T my offensive player, but I felt like that's like the Jeff T award.
You gave Jeff T a big knock. Was it yesterday or the day before? You said he had a good shot, and that was about
best
it.
Player, yes.
Yeah.
For best, I just feel like plug and play Josh or Dane on a team like, no offense, like Ottawa. I feel like a lot of those guys could put up a bunch of numbers, but
how do you think
they're not?
How do you think Jeff Teed is? I'll flip it on you here, Mike. How do you think Jeff Teed is feeling right now? Missing the playoffs again. Had a bit of a lull, missed Riley O'Connor, but then, turned it on, but he can only do so much. Like, I'll ask you this. When Jeff Teet becomes an unrestricted free agent, what do you think he's doing?
I don't think he's staying in Ottawa. I'm sorry. I don't think he's staying.
What do you think? What do you think he's going to do?
If I don't want to say Buffalo.
Look at who's the best team in the league at the time. Do you think he wants to go to maybe a place like Buffalo where he might not be the, Josh Byrne there is probably the number one, or is he going to become his dad's there in a scouting capacity now, or does he want to play in Toronto and is close to home? Does he, or maybe he stays in Ottawa? I don't know. I
No.
think about that, and I'm like, this guy, how long is he gonna put up with missing playoffs before he might want to move along?
You're right. The second half was absolutely disgusting in a good way. It was wild what he did.
He's got more than
I-
just a good outside shot, Mike. I'll say that. Okay? Like
So-
walk it back a bit on that. His IQ, his vision, his forechecking,
yes.
his leadership, more than just a sweet shot, which is the elite of the elite in the league. Did you see I know we're getting way off track here, but I don't care. Did you see the hardest shot competition with like him?
So that's where I was going. It's like he shot like I don't even know if he was trying, but it's like
80.
But it's like
I can shoot 80, Mike. I can rip it.
That's
80.
what I'm saying. That's how pretty his shot is. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, just goes to show you accuracy over heat.
Are you going to be in the Warriors game? Are you going to be calling the game or anything?
Oh my God! Why do you got to go down this road here? No, it's a TSN linear game. That means the great Teddy Jenner yanks the chair right out from under my ass, and Brad Challoner, and Chantel Chan. Mind you, I put a call out to Craig Rosinski, of course, who does the road games for the Rochester Nighthawks, and I said, if you need a color guy, sit beside the great Ripper. I'm happy to call the game on Rochester radio with you, so I'm kind of waiting to hear back from Ripper on that.
Yo, that would be kind of cool. I gotta look at online.
I don't want to put any words in anybody's mouth or anything like that. But Vancouver wins that game. That could very well be Greg Rosinski's last game he calls in the National Lacrosse League. So I would be more than honored to sit beside him for his final game, if that in fact is the case.
What a run. Talk about a Gertler. Rosinski's, like you said, is right up there. Just unbelievable run.
400 plus. Yeah. He and Gertler. Now, those are the only two.
Yeah. So I got to ask you about let's talk about the Warriors this weekend against the Rochester Nighthawks. That's talk about like a game of like battle of strengths. Like Rochester's always had the beautiful high-flying shots on goal offense. Vancouver limits your shots and is a hard-nosed defensive team. Something's got to give.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the three-headed monster there with Fields, Smith, and Lanchbury. And, you could even put McConvey in that list as well. That's about as potent as it gets offensively. Yeah. Hartley did not play in their first matchup against Vancouver. Del Bianco did not play in their first matchup back early in the season as well. And I don't know if you want to look back through it, Mike, but I think it was like an 8-5 game, something like that. Like way back, I wanted to January 24th, if my memory serves. If I pull that one out at January 24th, if I nail that, I think
December 13th, 10-7.
Okay. So pretty low.
That was good though. 10-7 that's still low.
Yeah. So I don't think we're gonna I'm on record as saying this now. If Vancouver hits 11 goals, they win.
I like it. Wow.
That's it, right? Like I even 10 on some nights. And look at the record and the scores in the last 6 games.
Yeah, 13, 8, 15, 13. I mean, they didn't allow 13, but oh well. 13, 12, 10, 4. They don't allow a lot, especially with Del Bianco. That's what makes it so impressive.
Yeah.
Is they're not allowing anything.
Race to Rochester's got the ability to fill it up, no question. I don't know if they fill it up against this Vancouver defense and goaltender.
Agreed.
So I think we're looking right around the 11-9, 10-8, 12-10 sort of score line here for either team.
8-4. By the way, Jeff T was on your mind because it was Ottawa Black Bears game on January 24th.
Okay, that was the one. That was
good though. That was good. Connor Phil's Jeff T. I get it. It's harder. So what's funny about that is that what was I going to say? Like Ron Hartley and Del Bianco are two of my favorite goalies in the league. Like they are just like, how do they make that stop, dude? But that's impossible.
They both have pretty unique styles, and I would say they're both as close to reactionary goaltenders as you're going to get. Like without the pads on, Ralphie is maybe $140. Like he is a rail, man. Like you can see the ribs through the skin and all that. And Del Bianco is not a big fella. Like he's got a little meat on the bones, but he's not a big guy as far as goaltenders go. So I think it's a really interesting matchup. And Rochester, since Hartley has come back, they just have a bit of a different aura about them. Like I don't know. So I'm really looking forward to this goalie matchup. And I will say this, to have to come from the far East Coast to the Western time zone, not sleeping in your own bed and everything. This is why you want home floor advantage in the playoffs, especially in maybe like a Toronto Buffalo situation, not such a big deal. But when you're talking Rochester to Vancouver, that's a massive deal. That's a full day, like 12, 15-hour travel day.
That's crazy.
Not fun, and then have to go out and try and play your best game. So I think that's a huge advantage for Vancouver in that regard.
Agreed. And I don't really want to end here, but Las Vegas, you did how many Desert Dogs games did you do this year? Do you know?
7 out of the 9. Yeah.
Wow, you did 7?
So I did 5 on color with AJ Cannell, and then did 2 play-by-play with Zach Greer.
How is Zach Greer up there? Is this his first year doing that or second year?
Yeah, well, yeah. I think it's something Zach wants to get into, and I think he did a college game, a Duke game maybe earlier this year as well. And he's great. Like this guy's probably going to go to the Hall of Fame one day. He's a champion, one of the smartest guys you're ever going to meet. Just a real good person as well. And he's he looks good on camera and makes me look a little bit better as well. So I'm all for it. I love calling games with Zach Greer, and I hope I get to do more with him.
Las Vegas had a disappointing year once again. I thought 2 of the best things I named Adam Patra my rookie of the year if I had a vote. And Jack Hanna, I know he had a sophomore slump, if you will. He turned it back on this year. He's going to be fine. He's going to be might end up being one of the best American-born players pretty soon. He's disgusting. What is your take on Las Vegas this season overall?
Yeah, I would say disappointment is probably the first word that comes to mind. Yeah. I think higher expectations there, obviously, and those 2 guys you mentioned, Poitras is going to be a star in this league. Hanna probably already is, and his ceiling is still way up there as well. Like I think he can only get better. Look at Johnny Donville. I mean, former number 1 overall pick and maybe one of the smartest lacrosse players you're ever going to find, and just works his tail off at his craft as well. Like he is a pro's pro. Like he takes things real serious as far as his game goes. So you know what you're getting there. Their captain in Connor Kirst, I think, is a guy you could really build the franchise around as well. Just a great human being, lives in Las Vegas, teaches the kids there, and still really young, and a guy that you can just kind of build that franchise around. Great face for the franchise. So those 4 guys, I think, are really the big centerpiece there in Las Vegas. And, aside from that Calgary game on the road where they got their doors blown off, I know not a lot of wins, but it's not like they were getting the crap kicked out of them either, right? So
like last year was rough sometimes.
Things can turn pretty quickly in the National Lacrosse League. You add a free agent or 2, hit on a couple of draft picks, maybe make a deal, and all of a sudden you're right there in the mix. So I know the record isn't what everybody wants. There's no question about that, but I also don't think they're as far away as people might think as well. Like they were in a lot of games. It was just a matter of playing a full 60 minutes. Every team strives to do that. You're never going to play the perfect game, right? But if you can get around 50, 51 minutes of good lacrosse, good chance they're going to win. Problem for Vegas, they were playing about 39, 40 minutes of good lacrosse and not 60.
I also love the move to Henderson. I know it's like not a big barn, but cutting the cost probably more than in half is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, Starbucks coffee is a hell of a lot cheaper out there in Henderson than it is down on the strip, man. And even for the boys, if you want to go get a Gatorade or whatever after the game, like you just get gouged if you're inside a casino on the strip. And I love Henderson, man. It's a nice city, great people. Cool. The building is really new. It's clean. It's the dogs have their own facilities there, something that they didn't have at Michelob, right? They had to pack up and pack out every time that they were in there. Same as the production facilities. Like they had to bring in a truck. Like it was an added $40,000 a game or something to bring in a truck and set up a broadcast there. Now they have everything kind of in place. The fans, in particular, they don't like residents of Henderson or Summerlin or whatever. They don't want to go to the Strip. They've been there. They've seen it. They've done it. They don't want to go there. Parking's ridiculous, all the rest of it. So I think it's been a fantastic move to engage the communities. And, for people that are coming in from out of town to go watch a Desert Dog game or their visiting team or whoever, maybe you're just in Vegas, whatever, can still take a quick Uber out to Henderson and get back to the Strip and have a good time. Those people are still going to go to the game. It's the people in Nevada that they need to encapsulate here. And I think the move to Henderson, and I'll give these Dog fans a lot of credit, for the losing that has gone on there, for them to still show the support that they have. 3 years in, it's gotten better and better and better, and I think it'll continue to do that, especially as the team gets better.
My buddies Aaron Crouch and Sammy Ashton, two guys have had shows with them on sports before. Vegas residents, they told me what you said about Henderson. A little bit easier for locals to get to, which is what you want to sell it to, not just the tourist, obviously.
100% free parking there as well, and nice little walking distance around the arena, and a couple of good disc golf courses in the town as well, Mike, which I really like.
See, we start and end with the plastic. I love it.
There you go.
Oh, one last thing I want to ask you about is you've seen the what is that show? Morning Shoot Around.
Sure.
You've caught a couple games with Tino Farah. How fun is it seeing him on the broadcast, knowing your history with him?
Yeah, well, you know what? I've known Tino. I don't even know how long it's been now. Probably 5, 6, 7 years, I would say. And when Tino was just kind of first starting to get into the industry, I kind of spotted a little something in him. Like, this guy carried himself pretty well, looked like he was pretty well spoken. So I said, why don't you come on the podcast? And I've kind of done that with my new co-host in Lucas Arger as well. He really reminds me of a young Tino Farah, and Tino really kind of found his voice on the podcast, and he started to call more games through the summer, whether it be junior or, Founders Cups or whatever. And he's gotten more and more confident. He's gotten better and better at what he does. And it was just I think it was time for both of us to have a bit of a change. And what he's doing on the morning shoot around with Pacer and Delbs, I think is fantastic. Like yourself, more content, more lacrosse talk, the better, as far as I'm concerned. It's not going to change anything on Lacrosse Classified, but it was great to call a few games with Tino, and I think he's got a bright future ahead of him if he keeps doing what he's doing.
Future Morelli, we'll have to see, but Mine, who's nominated
there's another guy that probably belongs on the list, right? Like, not there.
Point. He's doing a few things. I agree with that. Jake Elliott, you were awesome. Thanks again for your time. It's sporadic with getting you on here sometimes, but we'll probably have you on before the year is over just in case. But thanks again, and if it works out with Rebzinski, that'd be awesome. If not, thanks for all you do, man.
Yeah, well, either way, I'm going to be in Rogers Arena watching the game, and I can't wait. It's been a long, long time. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm happy to come on anytime, and appreciate everything that you do for our sport and our league as well.
Love it. Thank you, Jake. PVP #4 Sports on both Twitter and Instagram. See, why can't Adam and Pat be like Jake when it comes to those usernames? I'm kidding. All right, when we come back, I'm going to unveil my Defensive Player of the Year and my Goaltender of the Year as part 3 of 4 of the mics. We'll be right back. One more break here, folks.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right. At 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
America, get back on track with Dust Pods Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water, Dust Pods is the future in polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DUST-PODS or visit dustpods.com today.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We're back to Daily Dive for one more segment. It's going to be an hour and a half long show. But honey, we made it. We hope you enjoyed the great NLL Awards debate. And like I said, it wasn't really a debate, but I had some fun things on there. We appreciate Adam Levy. We appreciate Pat Gregoire. We appreciate Jake Elliott for all they do. And, of course, the other guys we reached out to who have come on the show before but weren't able to make it. We appreciate those two as well. They knew who they are. 12onsports.com and click the tickets tab to experience the NLL playoffs for a better price. We appreciate your support in that. You can also go to 12ouncesports.com/tickets. There's also an audio-only podcast version of this show. Head to Spotify and search Daily Dive, and I promise you I will have that our previous shows up there very, very soon. Not that there's any constraint on them in 12 Sports. I just haven't done it because I'm lazy. Anyways, all week long, I've been doing my awards. They are known as the Mics. And you know what? Like I said, I'm actually not mad at not getting a vote nowadays because I feel like it's fun just to unveil these puppies on my own. Like, forget your timeline. Forget your transparency. We're so open. It's like we're naked here. That's weird. Sorry. He's a comedian. But anyways, so I've given my Rookie of the Year to Adam Patra. My General Manager of the Year was Mike Board. Offensive Player of the Year was Jeff Teat. Transition Player of the Year was Zach Courier. I'm now introducing my Defensive Player of the Year. It's going to be Matt Hossack. What we're going to do once again is go from 5 to 2 and then finish off with number 1. So let me find this real quick. Okay. My Defensive Player of the Year, once again, it's like I feel like the team did not necessarily have to make the playoffs, but they definitely had to have a good defensive team around them because it means that they were contributing to a good defense and not just putting up raw numbers. So there it is. Number 5 Defensive Player of the Year, Rochester Nighthawks, Matt Gilray. As you know, the Nighthawks did not have the greatest defense as a team, but he was by far the standout, or one of the few standouts on that team defensively. Number 4, a guy who was also a top 5 for me in Transition Player of the Year, Vancouver Warriors, Owen Grant, was phenomenal, but he was not up there in my finals. Number 3 for me, Saskatchewan Rush's Mike Messenger. I feel like Mike Messenger, one of the staples of the Rush defense, if not the staple of the Rush defense, and they were one of the best defenses in the NLL. Number 2, a guy who broke the record for NLL for block shots. I know the woman keeping the stats is like 2021 or so. But Paul Dawson of the Buffalo Bandits was phenomenal, part of a great defense in Buffalo. But it was Matt Hosick, a guy I actually ran into and casually met after the Rush Worm game. Matt Hosick's 31 caused turnovers was third place in the league. 27 block shots was fourth. 131 loose balls was up there with the good defenders. And the Rush allowed the second least goals at just 179. Matt Hosick was an amazing pickup by Derek Keenan in the dispersal draft. He has been a godsend. He is like the Paul Dawson of the Buffalo Bandits last year. That's been Matt Hosick this year. The Saskatchewan Rush. This is a guy who finalized the defense. And finally, the Mikes will conclude today with my goalie of the year. This was one of the toughest awards I've had to do and rank. So here it is. Number 5 for me, Saskatchewan Rush's Frank Scigliano, a guy who might be actually one of the gold. He might win the award. I'm going to be honest. Not for me. Number 5 for me. He was third in save percentage. 11 wins was second. 9.40 goals against average led the league. But here's the deal, folks. Of the starters, by the way, the guys that played 40 plus 40% of the minutes. So I'll work my way back down, but Scigliano's number 5. Number 4, Matt Vince. His 13-5 record was the best in the league. 79.1 save percentage was 5th place. Number 3, my finalist, if you will, the Ottawa Blackbears' Zach Higgins. He faced the most shots in the league, or shots on goal at 924. Had an 8-10 record. His team just missed the playoffs. 79 even save percentage was 6th place. And I actually updated this goaltender. I had a change of hearts. Number 2 is going to be Calgary's Nick Rose. His 82% save percentage led the league. His 18.26 goals saved above average led the league. He faced the 5th most shots on goal at 906, and he had a 7-10 record between two teams. A guy who had a better record, but his team did not make the playoffs, but he did win it, is my goaltender of the year. A guy who needed to step up this year, and he did so even though the team did not. Dylan Ward is my goaltender of the year. Dylan Ward had an 8-9 record. His team missed the playoffs. Dylan Ward had faced the 4th most shots on goal at 909, had a 14.92 GSAA, was 3rd place, and his 79.4 save percentage was 4th place. Dylan Ward put up numbers that was unfair for himself to put up, and his team would lose. It was unreal. He also did not fall off at the end of the year. He stayed consistent. I know there's no stat that backs it up, but I feel like Zach Higgins started the year a lot better than what Dylan Ward. Dylan Ward just had a consistently great year. And just like with Calgary's Nick Rose, I don't know if Colorado has a great defense. I don't think Calgary does, just by having a few horses. I just feel like Dylan Ward and Nick Rose, it's theirs to lose. I'm with Dylan Ward. There was 2 questions the Colorado men have asked themselves this year. How good can our offense be with Will Malcolm? And will Dylan Ward bounce back? Dylan Ward bounced back and then some. And the offense, we still don't know how it's going to be, how good it can be with Will Malcolm, because it wasn't great. So, or it was inconsistent, should I say. So my thing is, Dylan Ward was the staple of that entire team. And they almost made the playoffs. Again, I would have liked them to make the playoffs to solidify my point even more. But being 8-9 is no big deal, especially when the guy that almost won it for me was 7-10, and Zach Higgins was 8-10. Who's to say Dylan Ward, if he played an 18th game, wouldn't have been 99 and made the playoffs? We don't know. The world may never know as they lick this lollipop. But guys, don't know where it is. Matt Vincent, Frank Scigliano were so low, 4th and 5th best in the league, because their defense was phenomenal. If I'm going to name Matt Hossack number 1, if I'm going to name Mike Messenger number 3, if I'm going to put Paul Dawson number 2, then those guys cannot be up there for my goal of the year. I will stay consistent. Last year, I did not think it should have been Nick Rose. I gave it to Doug Jameson for what it's worth. Probably not worth anything, but for the viewers of this show, it's worth a little bit. So I feel like Dylan Ward was my goalie of the year. He was the reason why this team is engaged, much like Zach Higgins was, much like Nick Rose was. Zach Higgins, like I said before, kind of fell off more so and didn't really have a consistent year. Had a few blips on the radar. And Christian Del Bianco played 6 games, and that was all I needed to see. And I know Del Bianco would never admit he's the goalie of the year, even though he probably should admit that he's in the conversation. He is in the conversation, but not in my – I couldn't put him in the top 5. Might have put him 5th place, but Scigliano's numbers were so good, despite not facing a ton of shots, I give Scigliano the 5th place nod. Okay, tomorrow I will continue the mics by revealing my coach of the year and then my MVP. I have not officially finished my MVP thoughts. It's such a wild award and such an important award. My coach of the year's top 5. It's already set in stone, so I'm ready for that. MVP, I'm going to have to think about it a little bit more tonight, and then I'll finalize it in the morning. Now, tomorrow we're also going to have Captain back on the show to discuss the betting angles this weekend. And I hear we might be climbing tomorrow. If you know, you know. If you don't, stay tuned. It's been so cool seeing the amount of viewers we got on today's show to talk about the NLL awards, even if, because the league wouldn't allow them to, even if they weren't allowed to tip their hands, we still got some arguments for and against certain players. Thank you so much again to Adam Levy, to Pat Gregoire, to Jake Elliott, and to the other 2 people I talked to that wanted to be on the show but could not be on the show, but have always been nice to me. Have always been supportive of the show. Thank you so much for all that you guys do by watching the show, etc. Reminder, go to Daily Dive LAX to find reels and stories by Leroy, along with his lacrosse coaching updates, graphics, show updates, etc. Daily Dive LAX on Instagram and Twitter/X. You can also find our shop by clicking the link tree in our bios, or go to dailydivelacks.creator-spring.com, where you can wear the merchandise that a few people have liked in person, that I'm mailing to Pat Gregoire, that George Terrence has also worn. Thanks so much for all that you guys do. Roger Curry, you have a great day as well, a great night, even though I think I did it to Roger Curry before. I think there's a second time a guest has come on and we confused him for someone that wasn't. But thank you, Roger Curry, and everybody who commented today, like Kyler Goalie, like Red Kraken, like Adam Levy, like Captain, like MJG79. You know who you guys are. Thanks so much. It's so fun seeing you guys come out live. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, 12-Ounce Sports. This has been a presentation of 12ouncesports.com and Daily Dive. Bye.
Thanks for watching Daily Dive. See you next time.